Hi guys, how are you? In this video, I want to tell you the results of my experiment. Actually, it went different than I expected, a lot different. But yeah, I think that makes it more interesting, and I'm looking forward to see your message, what you think, if you want to try something similar or not. And I'm gonna structure the video in the following way. First, I'm going to show you what I learned in Swedish. I cannot say much, right? But I will try to say something, and I will tell you also what I learned about Swedish grammar. I knew nothing about, so it's interesting. I did learn something, so I'm glad I did this experiment. And then I'm going to do the same with Portuguese. And at the end of the video, I want to give you my conclusions about this experiment and how I'm going to continue, if I'm going to continue learning those languages or not, why, and yeah. So hope you enjoy it. Grab yourself something. I have a coffee because I didn't sleep well. So grab yourself a drink and let's get started. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a few sentences I know in Swedish. Hej, jag heter Laura och jag kommer från Barcelona. Jag talar inte svenska. Jag talar engelska, jag talar tysk, jag talar franska, jag talar spanska. Jag talar lite ryska och lite italienska. Jag älskar choklad. What else can I say? I knew how to say I like a few things. Let me check that. Jag tycker om dricka kaffe. Jag tycker dricka kaffe. Jag tycker om gå. Jag tycker om språk. Svenska är svårt. So, okay, you see I don't speak much, but I know how to say like random things like jag äter ett äpple. Jag äter soppan. Jag dricker kaffe. What else? I don't know how to say much, as you can see, but I know how to negate a sentence. So, for instance, I could say jag är kvinnan. Jag är en kvinna. Jag är inte en man. Okay, so really basic stuff, but I was surprised. I found, I understand a lot, and what I found really interesting is how the verbs work. They're pretty easy, right? Conjugation is very easy. So that I really liked. What I found really difficult is the pronunciation. I was learning with Duolingo. I will show you some fragments of my, learning with it, and at the beginning I was like this varsågod, and the way it's written, it's like it has nothing to do, so I was really confused, and at the beginning what I did was forget about how it's written and just listen and try to repeat it. Of course I know some very basic things like tack så mycket or hej då, and I really like the fact that in Swedish, it sounds very informal to me when I say hello and goodbye, because hello is hej, and goodbye is hej då, and it sounds very like, hey, I don't know, to me it sounds very informal, but I know it isn't. It's just because I've connected to other languages I speak. And what I found really funny is that to say beer, you say öl, and öl in German means oil. So yeah, it's funny, you can order a beer, en öl, varsågod, or the other one, ursäkta. I confused the two, yeah. Well, you see, I didn't learn much, but I learned a little about the structure of Swedish, and a lot of sentences are really similar to English or German, and then other things are completely different. Yeah, so it's a language that I really like. So let's see what I do with it. But yeah, also what I found interesting researching online, I found a website which is with news in Swedish, but it's like very easy, like very easy language. And I'm going to show you, let me check that. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures, and this really motivated me. You know, here for instance there's this news about 100 years of democracy, and here you see long come for roten or rost. I don't know if I'm reading this correctly, but you know, it's like in German, and it's a long fight for the right to vote for women. And in the picture you see kvinnor, so for women. So you know, even if I'm just getting started, I could understand something. So this is really motivating. And for instance, they also have this information about corona, viruset corona, her kan du lesa mer. Here you can read more. And I was like, I'm understanding everything. That was cool. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so you can see I didn't learn much, but yeah, I got a feeling for the language. And yeah, the biggest challenge being the pronunciation, I would say, and the coolest thing that the conjugation is so easy, and that a lot of sentences I can understand when I read them, and when I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this is like in German, this is like in English, so this is cool. Yeah. Okay, so let's see about Portuguese. Okay, Portuguese, I was surprised, I would say in a negative way, because I thought I would learn more. I understand almost everything when using, for instance, Duolingo, which is like very basic. When I listen to native speakers in a video on YouTube, sometimes I understand whole sentences and then nothing. Yeah, so it's kind of weird. I think my brain needs to get adapted to the pronunciation. Especially what I found very challenging was the whole vowels, and I was like, I'm never going to be able to do this. Oh, I don't know. I look very stupid doing this, but I'm like trying to do that, and it's not easy. Yeah. Well, I can say something, but it's, I think, probably just Portuñol. Olá, meu nome é Laura e eu sou de Barcelona. Não falo português, mas falo espanhol, alemão, catalão, inglês, e um pouco de russo e italiano. Eu amo chocolate. Eu entendo muito bem o português, mas não falo português. Gosto de línguas, gosto de caminhar e gosto de tomar café. Okay, so yeah, it was actually not much, and I am really insecure with my pronunciation. But yeah, I think, well, this is like one of the conclusions I took from this experiment. I've been learning Italian for 4 months now, and it's okay-ish, but I think my brain's not ready for a new Romance language, so it's like blocking it somehow. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna show you also what I really liked about Duolingo for Portuguese are those stories, because you don't have only these kind of exercises, but you also have some dialogues. Of course, they are also kind of maybe not that real, but they do help a lot. And I was going to ask, I'm not really going to learn Portuguese now, but maybe in the future. So if you know maybe some YouTuber like similar to Italiano Automatico, that would be cool if you can let me know. Yeah. So let's go for the, well, I'll show you these stories first. You can see that.
Pouco de dinheiro.
Mãe, eu preciso de dinheiro.
Por quê?
Para ir ao cinema.
Você precisa estudar.
Tudo bem.
E você precisa comprar comida para o cachorro.
Yeah, now we can go for the conclusions. Well, maybe you already guessed, but actually when I started this, I thought that my favorite language would be Portuguese and I would be like, okay, about Swedish. But actually the opposite happened, and I think it happened because, like I said, my brain is still busy learning Italian, so it's blocking a new Romance language, I think. And maybe it's also because every time I started learning, I started with Swedish because that was the language I was feeling more curious about, because I've been to Portugal, so I know how Portuguese sounds more or less, and so it wasn't like a big surprise for me. But with Swedish, I was like really curious and motivated. So I started with it, and then when I was already tired after a long day of work, then I was doing some Portuguese, and I was kind of forcing myself, to be honest. So for me, this experiment was showing me that I prefer to start with one language. Of course, you can learn several languages at the same time, but when you're getting started, in my opinion, it's better to focus on one language. If not, it's like hard to stick to it. Also, I wanted to do a whole week without interruptions, but I had to, yeah, I did it like in 10 days because in some days I wasn't learning, yeah, because I didn't have the time, or somehow it just didn't happen. So, yeah. So yeah, my conclusion is right now I want to keep the experiment just for Swedish for a whole month to see if I can get better, because I cannot say almost anything like you saw. And it's interesting, I really liked it. What I didn't talk about now I realized, what I found really interesting is the articles in Swedish. Like you put the article at the end if it's a definite article. So mannen is the man. I found that interesting. Yeah, can you get used to it pretty fast, I guess. What I also really liked is that they don't have, I thought they would have like in German accusative, dative and so on, and they don't seem to have that. At least I haven't seen that yet. Hopefully I don't get a bad surprise in the next weeks. But yeah, and about Portuguese, I know it's a widely spoken language and I know it would be easy for me to learn. But I'm just thinking I want to focus on Italian first, and then at some point, maybe next year, I can start with it. But right now I don't really feel the motivation to do it. So yeah, so I think it's better to just have a break and see if I'm motivated. Let's see in January. Yeah, I think it's better to just listen to your feelings and not force yourself, because at some point, if you're forcing yourself, at some point you won't do it. So it has to be fun and it has to be something you're really willing to do. Okay, hope you liked the experiment. If so, well, leave a comment. I'm always happy to see your comments. If you are not subscribed yet, subscribe. And and yeah, leave a comment. And yeah, like I said, in 3 weeks or so, I will then do a video about Svenska 1 month. Yeah. Okay, guys. So have a nice day and see you soon. Bye.